Hello and welcome to Five Lights Out. I am your host Tom, and today we are talking about the Spanish Grand Prix. But I'm not going to be focusing on the brilliant drive from Max Verstappen to get first, Lando Norris cruelly having it all taken away at the start of the Grand Prix, finishing second, and Hamilton with a good drive to third, showing the Mercedes increase in pace. No, today I'm going to be focusing on some of, maybe you could term, the losers of the Spanish Grand Prix, or the worst teams of the Spanish Grand Prix. So, where to start? Well, I am going to be starting with Williams. Williams. The Williams F1 team. What happened to them? Well, in Sargent's case, it couldn't have got anything worse for him. He had an absolute stinker of a Grand Prix. I mean, the Williams as a whole were poor. But Sargent qualified last, but then started in 19th because Alex Albon decided to start from the pit lane. And then he finished 20th in the Grand Prix where everyone finished. He was the only one to finish 2 laps down. I don't think there's anything more really to say. The Logan Sargent is showing this season why he shouldn't be in the Williams for next season. And we can go to Alex. I mean, Alex finished in 18th. He didn't set the world alight. The Williams was just very much off the pace. It was a shocker, really. For a team where they're trying to change philosophy from a team that was really good at the Italian Grand Prix with its long straights, high speed, low drag car, is now they're trying to evolve it into a car that suits every track, but right now it definitely does not suit the Circuit de Catalunya. And I suppose that's normally the benchmark for teams with downforce. That is the benchmark, and they are well off it. So a lot of work needed for Williams, a lot of work needed for James Vowles. They are slowly falling quite far behind. Well, not just Haas now, but also RB, they're well behind, and now Alpine are picking up points here and there, little pick. They started off in my videos as one of the teams talking about saying how bad they were at the start of the season. They're well off the pace, and you can just their development. They've got 2 point scorers, and they're actually consistently getting into Q2 with both cars and into Q3. So there's work needed at Williams. There are gains there. So many gains. Alpine have shown it. And they don't even look like a cohesive team. They looked a little bit all over the place. But they're finding the gains. And Williams are not finding the gains. The work is needed for Williams. Serious work is needed for the Williams. But we move on to a team that has found some gains. Stake F1. From a team, they were at the back. It's an ever evolving Formula One, isn't it? Started with Alpine at the back, and Stake looked like they were going nowhere. Stake looked like they were just wishing for 2026 and for Audi to come along and to take that Stake name away from them. And now, Joe in 12th, not far from Hulkenberg, not a million miles, about 13th, pardon me. But still not 1,000 miles away from Hulkenberg in 11th, from Esteban Ocon in 10th. So that shows what can be done. And they did bring a lot of upgrades, but they worked. And that is a big thing, getting upgrades, not just getting upgrades on your car, but making sure they work. So Stake are a good news story. They're showing that there can be involving of the car, and I think Williams need to look at this. If Stake gets some points, Williams are down in 10th, and they do not want that again. So, yeah, well done, Stake. Hats off to you. Really well done. We'll move now to a team that had been doing so well, but what were the issues? And I've got to say, what were the issues? And that is going to be RB, Cash App Visa RB. Daniel Ricciardo finishing in 15th, Yuki Tsunoda finishing in 19th. Only had Logan Sargent behind him. And this is from a team that have been gathering points pretty much most weekends, with Yuki Tsunoda at least. He sits in 10th and 19 points in the championship. Daniel Ricciardo with 9 in 12th, which shows that there has been pace. They've been picking up the 2s, the 3s, the 1s in the point system every race. So, and they brought upgrades. It's another team that brought upgrades, and this is the difference. State brought the upgrades. You saw the improvement. They qualified better, and in Joe they raced a lot better. With RB, that get these upgrades off the car by the looks of it, because they are much worse without them. Much worse. Either they didn't understand the upgrades, and that can happen. Definitely Formula 1, you're trying to be quick, trying to get the upgrades onto the car. That can easily happen. Or the upgrades were just bad. And do they need to revert back? It happened last season to Aston Martin. Is it happening this season to Visa Cash App RB? I suppose we'll find out. We'll find out in Austria whether, well, maybe the upgrades will work in Austria if they've had chance to really work on them, understand them better. It might be the fact that they just needed a race to bed in, and for the engineers, for the data scientists to understand what's going on and how to better utilize them. But we'll see, because hopefully in Yuki Tsunoda this doesn't ruin what has been a great season for him so far. He's been one of the drivers of the season. And finally, I was thinking about doing Aston Martin, but I think they deserve a whole episode, especially if they're not good in Austria. I'm going to wait to see what they're like in Austria, but I might be doing what has happened to Aston Martin, because in the last few races they've been nowhere near it. So I'm just going to hold off with them for the time being. So we are going to be moving to Haas. I'll be moving to Haas. And to be fair, I've got to be honest, I think they're, out of the ones I've covered today, Stake are maybe the winners in the sense of progress. But Haas, while Nico Hulkenberg finished 11th, they really weren't far off it. Just needed a little bit more pace. But both of them made errors. Both. Magnussen made an error in a false start, which is 5-second penalty, which in Formula 1, 5 seconds is no small amount, especially when every car is finishing. 5 seconds is actually quite a lot of time, so you can't be shrugging that off. And the same for Nico Hulkenberg. He had a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. If you actually take that 5 seconds off his race time, and then look at what his race time was, he then ends up 3 seconds behind Esteban Ocon. That's significant, really. If he didn't have to do that 5-second penalty, he could have been challenging for a point. And again, down with the teams that I've been talking about, every point counts. Remember the celebrations they had when Hulkenberg got points in Saudi Arabia, when you had Magnussen defending all the other cars, holding them back. It means so much. Just 1 or 2 points. So it's by these 5-second penalties are not small. If you put them into context, if you put it into context right now, if Haas had got that point and Esteban Ocon hadn't, Alpine would be down on 7 points and Haas would be on 8. And then that would just switch them around in the Constructors' Championship. It would put Haas back in 7th and Alpine down to 8th. These points, they're going to mean so much, and that's what Williams have to be careful, because if Stake have got these upgrades and have got them right and do improve, and they're only 2 points. It's only 2 points. There's only an 8th place finish and Sauber above them. So they have to watch out, Williams. But yeah, that's been my review of the 4 worst teams at the Circuit de Catalunya. But yeah, let me know what you think. Do you want the video on what has happened to Aston Martin? I'm probably going to do it either way because I think it's going to be really interesting. But we'll see what they're like in Austria. And yeah, let me know, who do you think is going to be a winner in Austria? Hulkenberg qualified really, and Magnussen has qualified really well last year in Austria. Is it going to be the same again? And we've seen that Haas has better race pace than it did last year. Last year they qualified really well and fell off a cliff. Is that going to be the case this year? I wouldn't have thought so. But are they going to qualify high? Austria is another one of them tracks where you're talking just over a minute to get around it. It's quick. So the details matter. It's all in the details. So yeah, let me know. Let me know what you think. I've been Tom. The 5 lights are out. And it's go.